All right, guys, lab 1, part 2, pretty similar to part 1, except now we're doing heart rate and blood pressure during exercise. So the first thing you guys are gonna do when you come in is getting the setup. So treadmill and cycle ergometer setup. There's videos for both of those on the Blackboard shell right in this lab. All right, so check those out. They're pretty straightforward. You guys are going to be following the exact protocols from these tables. So there's a treadmill and the cycle ergometer. One of you guys will do the cycle, one of you guys will do the treadmill. You guys don't both need to do each protocol. Both of these protocols have 5 stages that are each going to last 3 minutes, including the warm-up and the recovery. And intensity is going to increase exactly how it shows in the table. So for the treadmill, both speed and grade are going to increase, grade being the incline. And then on the cycle, the resistance and the RPM. So the resistance is in KPs here, and you'll notice there's a left and a right side. How do you choose? Based on the size of your partner, the fitness of your partner, the sex of your partner, things like that. And so if you have a more fit partner or they're more cardiovascularly fit, then maybe you go on the right side because that'll be more suited for them. Whichever side you choose, just make sure you stay on it the whole time. So don't start on the left side and then for stage 2, go to the right side. Right, so make sure you stay on that the whole time. RPM's pretty uniform as to how those progress. When we're doing our data collection, each stage, like I said, is 3 minutes, but it tells you to start the pulse collection, that radial pulse, at 2 minutes. So this is because the goal is to have both blood pressure and heart rate, and then RP as well, done by the 3-minute mark. You guys, some of you might get that on your first try. A lot of you might not. Okay, that's fine. It's a difficult thing to do while they're exercising because of all the extra noise and the movement. So if you aren't getting these done within the 3 minutes, that's okay. Just continue to work through them as best as you can. But in a perfect world, we would take the 15-second radial pulse at the 2-minute mark, and then we would take blood pressure immediately after, okay? You finish each stage by asking your subject for their RPE, and then you tell them that you are either increasing speed and grade if they're on the treadmill, or that you are increasing resistance on the cycle ergometer. If they need to pedal faster with the RPMs, make sure you let them know that. And then the exercise challenge on here, this is for a wall sit. So you guys are both going to complete this part, and this is going to be a 1-minute wall sit with the heart rate before and directly after the contraction, and then you'll get blood pressure before at the halfway mark and then directly after as well. Okay, so one person goes at a time so that the other person can collect data. You get the heart rate, like I said, right before, as well as blood pressure. For the 30-second blood pressure, try to get as close as you can to that. I wouldn't wait until the 30-second mark to begin taking that, because otherwise you might get jammed up. And then directly after, you'll take your final blood pressure reading and another heart rate reading. All right. For your results for this lab, you're going to be using a table for both the treadmill and the cycle ergometer, as well as a figure for both. For the tables, they can look exactly like this one in the example. Stages 1, 2, 3, and recovery. Fine if you don't have the warm-up stage in there, okay? And you'll notice the third column is resistance in watts. So at the bottom it has that little asterisk, watts equals KP times RPM. Make sure that you are displaying your cycle ergometer resistance in watts. I don't want to see that broken up in your lab report. For the treadmill, you can break that up into speed and percent grade. Like you can just put a slash mark in between them. That's fine for resistance. You have your heart rate, the blood pressure for each stage, and then the RPE. Okay, so you just fill in that table on there. For the figures, this is going to be using the Excel sheet that is attached. So if you look at the Excel sheet, all you have to do is plug your information in. You will not include the recovery stage or the warm-up stage, just 1, 2, and 3. That's already in there. You just need to fill in the heart rate section for both, and then it will automatically make these graphs. on the graphs, there is a trend line, there is a y equals equation, and an r squared. The trend line is just showing us the trend of the exercise or the trial. So typically we'll see that heart rate increases with later stages, which is more intense exercise. All right. Now the r squared, that's our correlation. So the closer that is to 1, the more correlated we believe the intensity of exercise is to the heart rate reading. It's not just up to coincidence. And then the y equals equation is useful because we can use that to find either the desired workload to get us to the heart rate we want, or we can find an estimated heart rate for the workload we have them at. Either way, whichever you want to go about it. So if you plug in either y or x into that equation, you'll get your result. Our x in this case is the stage or the intensity, like for watts on the cycle, and then our y is our heart rate. So if I wanted my person to be at 120 beats per minute, then I can just put that in for y, run the equation, and then it'll tell me what resistance I need to have them at to get to that point. Okay, that's how we use that. So like I said, you'll have a figure 1 and a figure 2, one for the treadmill, one for the cycle ergometer, and then you'll have a table 1 and table 2, again, one for each. Okay. And then your question right at the end, what would you expect heart rate and blood pressure responses to be for dynamic versus static exercise? Think about what you know about what blood pressure is, why heart rate changes the way it does, and then if you guys need to, this is also a place where you could use an outside source and get your citation in, okay? Make sure you guys have your data sheet, and yeah.